Imbued by blood and magic, teenager Anya Corazon is the last in a 900-year-old line of hunters, on her mother's side. This legacy allows her to grow protective armor that's accompanied by superhuman strength, and with it, Anya helps defend the world from ancient and modern darkness, all while trying to be a good student. In 1099, in the Iberian Kingdom of Castile, benevolent Crusaders, kingmakers hoping to protect the world from the shadows they felt were consuming the Holy Lands, form a secret society. Arab writings lead them to totems granting arcane powers, but internal dissent fragments the organization into two factions: the Spider Society, which retains their original goal, and the Sisterhood of the Wasp, which seeks to accumulate power for its own sake. Through subsequent centuries, the two groups fight a secret war, each side fielding two linked champions, a mage and a hunter, against their opposite numbers in the rival cabal. When a champion falls, another has their innate mystic potential ritually activated and as such replaces them, with new champions often being descended from prior ones as the potential passed down family lines. In modern times, and a little over 16 years ago, Anya Sophia Corazon is born in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, a descendant of one of the original Spider Society hunters through her mother Sophia's line. At a young age, Anna's family moves to Mexico City, where her father Gilberto is a successful investigative journalist. Gil begins an exposé of crime lord Felix Jade, pronounced Jade, when Anna is 6 years old. Warned to back off, Gil refuses, and the next day Sophia perishes in an unexplained house fire. Believing, apparently erroneously, that Jade is responsible, Gil takes Anna back to Brooklyn rather than risk further reprisals against his family. Over the next decade, Jade becomes the target of several failed assassinations, which he thinks are arranged by Gil. Anna grows into a sassy teenager, her life revolving around friends, gymnastics, field hockey, and generally unreciprocated crushes on boys. She grows tired of people constantly mispronouncing her name, so she anglicized the spelling to Anya. Her refusal to back down from confrontations often leads to trouble at school. One day, as a freshman at Milton Summers High School in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, she's bullied, and in coming home that afternoon, her father calls her Arana, but it's embarrassing for her, and she keeps the day's events from him until he reveals that he received a call from the principal about the incident. Before she can defend herself, Gil received another call that takes him away. Meanwhile, the Spider Society's hunter dies as a result of giving the hunter spirit within him total control. His mage partner Miguel Leger is supposed to bond with fellow society member Nina Smith, making her the new hunter, but Miguel has a vision of both of them dying in battle, ending the Spider Society lineage. Secretly in love with Nina, Miguel instead searches for another hunter candidate. Pursued by Wasp agents wishing to deny the Spiders their hunter, Miguel is drawn to Fort Greene Park, where he casts a summoning sigil. Anya, in the park after being taunted by a school bully into a late-night fight, stumbles into Miguel's battle with the Wasps. Concluding that Anya was the new Spider initiate, a Wasp agent fatally stabs her. To save her life, Miguel bonds with her, healing her and triggering the dormant powers she carried within to slowly activate, visibly manifesting as a spider-like tattoo on her right arm. Though his superior Mr. Sanderson and the Society Board disapproves of Miguel's choosing such a young and untrained hunter, having no alternative, they reluctantly accept Anya. After initial uncertainty, Anya agreed to become Miguel's partner, hiding her new role from her father behind the facade of an internship with Webcore, the Spider Society's front. To hasten the full emergence of her powers, Miguel abandons Anya in Mexico's Yucatan desert, hoping to cleanse her system of the city's pollutions and waken the hunter within. After several hours, a wolf pack attacked the thirsty and exhausted Anya, but she experienced a vision of her dead mother, who draws her powers fully out. A carapace armor grew from her tattoo, protecting her while she defeated the wolves. Though this armor, which no prior hunter had manifested, confirms to Miguel that Anya was not the true hunter, he keeps this information from her. He informs her that each hunter chooses their own name, so Anya picks her mother's maiden name, Arana, pronounced Arana, meaning spider in Spanish, and designs herself a costume. She and Miguel disrupt Wasp Mage Vincent's ceremony, creating the Wasp's new hunter, denying them Arana's counterpart for a year, until a new ceremony could be performed. Anya possesses superhuman strength, lifting 3 tons, endurance, and speed. She can climb walls and do a 25-foot standing high jump. Anya's skeleton is incredibly flexible, allowing her to conceal herself in tiny cavities. The spider tattoo on her right arm is invisible except when it senses danger. Anya can generate a carapace armor from it that would instinctively expand to block attacks, even ones she's unaware of. Anya could also consciously control the thickness, coverage, and shape of it. At its thickest, it was resistant to small arms fire, but when armored, even partial immersion in water paralyzed and asphyxiated her, forcing her to retract it. The Doomsday Man ripped the carapace off Arana, and it is uncertain if it will regrow. The hunter spirit grants Arana exceptional fighting prowess before its departure. Arana is trained by expert martial artists Nina Smith and Batrock the Leaper. She is a skilled mechanic and designed a spider bola weapon useful as a swing line or for tripping and binding opponents. As her father and mother are of Puerto Rican and Mexican descent, respectively, Arana is bilingual, speaking English and Spanish. The Sisterhood of the Wasp becomes Arana's enemy when she joins their opposition, the Spider Society. She comes up against their potential hunter, teenage Egyptian assassin Ammonius, and battles him until he is offered respect that the Sisterhood did not and agrees to protect her identity. Though makes it clear that he would fight her again if the Sisterhood demanded it of him. Believing for the large part of her life that the crime lord Felix Jade killed her mother, Ammonius faces off with him, nearly killing him in their first encounter. They meet again and Jade controls her with telepathy, though Arana's mother's spirit helps her overcome it. Ammonius reveals to Arana that Jade is not her mother's killer and Jade escapes. Alongside other spider heroes, Anya battles the Inheritors, a vampiric family who feast on spider totems and interdimensional electros from across the multiverse. Arana's father Gilberto Gil Corazon raises her on his own after her mother Sofia Anya Corazon is killed, and they have a healthy relationship. He supports her after discovering her superpowers and allows her to train with Carol Danvers, aka Ms. Marvel, later Captain Marvel, and Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man. Arana joins the Spider Society, an ancient order that protects the world from the shadows using powerful totems, and goes up against its opposing group, the Sisterhood of the Wasp, who seeks the power for themselves. She bonds with one of the leaders, Miguel Leger, and he hopes to awaken the hunter spirit within her but knows she is not meant for the position. He admits it to her eventually and says that her armor is a gift from her mother. In going up against the Sisterhood, the Spider Society enlists another spider totem, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, and they successfully stop their hunter ceremony, though Arana loses Miguel in the process. Arana joins the initiative after the Superhuman Registration Act, SHRA, is enacted and becomes Ms. Marvel's protege and works closely with Wonder Man. During this time, she also becomes friends with Rebecca Barnes, aka Nomad. While it bothers her to see families separated by the SHRA, she continues fighting against Steve Rogers, aka Captain America's anti-registration team. She also gets recruited by the Avengers Academy and learns combat techniques from some of the best fighters in the Avengers. She helps Earth's mightiest recover Terrigenesis cocoons during the time of the Terrigen cloud bomb. Working alongside Miguel, Nina, and webcore computer hacker Ted Mankowski, Arana captured corrupt Judge Thomas Bander, who had been selling insider information to the Wasps. She found information on him that the Wasps were considering hiring the teenage Egyptian assassin Ammonius to fill in for their incapacitated hunter. Vincent lured Miguel into a trap, and auditioned for Ammonius to prove himself by slaying the spider's mage, but Arana intervened, seeing Ammonius' face before she and Miguel fled. Aware Ammonius maintained his anonymity by killing anyone who could identify him, Anya was horrified when the new boy in her class proved to be the assassin she had fought the night before. Worse, he recognized her by her tattoo. Later, the Wasps attacked when the Spider Society was transporting Binder to a safe house. Arana and Ammonius' battle was witnessed by Gil Corazon, who was investigating the Binder corruption case for the New York Herald. Seizing the advantage, Ammonius threatened to target those closest to Anya if she did not let him slay her. Arana grabbed her father and fled, but doing so left Miguel vulnerable and Ammonius stabbed him. With Miguel in critical condition, Arana quit Webcore, unwilling to make anyone there a target for Ammonius. A chance encounter with Spider-Man convinced Arana to be proactive, taking the fight to Ammonius. Meanwhile, Mankowski tracked Arana down to tell her that Miguel would die if Arana wasn't by his hospital bed. As their life forces were interlinked, both Ted and Ammonius found Arana within moments of one another. Battling Ammonius without Miguel's stabilizing influence, the hunter spirit took over and Arana nearly slew Ammonius before Ted, not wanting her to become a killer, held her back long enough for Ammonius to flee. Visited by Arana, Miguel awoke from his coma. To prevent anyone else identifying her as Ammonius had, Miguel magically dimmed Aranya's tattoo until it was only visible in danger's presence. The Ammonius situation became further complicated when Lynn, Anya's best friend, asked Ammonius out. Unwilling to leave her friend alone with the assassin, Anya tagged along, the two enemies maintaining a shaky truce for the sake of their secret identities. When a nearby argument exploded into violence, Anya reluctantly saved Ammonius from being shot. She explained to a perturbed Ammonius that there was a difference between being enemies and letting him die. Finding it ironic that unlike his employer she had shown him real respect, Ammonius reciprocated by promising not to share her identity with the Wasps and to drop his personal vendetta, leaving her friends and family alone. However, he would still fight her if his employers required it. Learning that the Sisterhood of the Wasp was hosting an international crime lord conference, the Spider Society targeted the conference members as they arrived in the United States. They easily captured Lady Chi of the clan Fae, despite Vincent and Ammonius being tasked to protect her, but the next arrival was Jade, determined to avenge her mother. Arana nearly killed Jade in their first encounter. During their next fight, Arana was controlled when Jade used hidden telepathic abilities. She attacked Miguel and helped Jade escape. The mesmerized Arana, however, was freed from Jade's control by her mother's spirit. Overpowering Jade, Arana tied him up and pushed his car over a cliff into a river. Moments later, Ammonius arrived to tell her he had learned Jade was not her mother's killer. Her conscience awoken, Arana leapt into the water to rescue Jade but found the car empty. Anya began having regular dream visitations from her mother urging her to release the hunter, and Miguel informed her that she was not meant to have been his partner and that her armor was her mother's gift. Meanwhile, the Spider Society learned that the Wasps had hired an unidentified being, a totem, who could awaken the Wasp hunter before the full year was out. Balancing things out by enlisting their own totem, Spider-Man, the Spider Society forces attacked the Wasp ceremony. Miguel realized that the battle was the one he had long foreseen. He took a fatal blow intended for Nina, but the Wasp totem slew her seconds later. Arana relinquished her hunter, which merged with and revived Nina, who swiftly killed the Wasp hunter. Angry at Miguel's death, Nina told Arana to leave. No longer tied to the Spider Society, she was now free to find her true destiny. The Superhuman Registration Act passed just before Arana's 16th birthday, and she was tracked down by Ms. Marvel and Wonder Man, who convinced her to register and become a trainee with the Federal Initiative program. Despite Arana's faith in the act being shaken early on when she witnessed unregistered hero Julia Carpenter, aka Arachne, being forcibly separated from her young daughter, Arana nonetheless joined other registered heroes in battling Captain America's anti-registration resistance forces. With her father now aware of her dual identity, Arana became Ms. Marvel's protégé, but her apprenticeship was cut short after the Doomsday Man peeled off her carapace, hospitalizing her. Shortly after being discharged, Arana was confronted by Arachne, who was hunting for her daughter. Arana overpowered her, but then helped Ms. Marvel and Wonder Man reunite mother and child. Arana recently fell under Philip Masters, aka Puppet Master's control, but was rescued by Ms. Marvel's Lightning Storm Squad. Along with other spider totems, Arana was hunted by the Kravenov family, who hoped to resurrect their fallen family member, Sergei Kravenov, aka Kraven the Hunter. She was captured with Arachne and Cassandra Webb, aka Madam Webb, and Maddie Franklin, aka Spider-Woman, the latter of which was killed. Madam Webb was gravely injured and gave her precognitive powers to Arachne, who became the new Madam Webb. Arachne passed on her costume. Spider-Man then helped fight the Kravenovs and Anya prevented him from killing the resurrected Kraven. Anya then joined the young allies and fought the Bastards of Evil. During this time, Anya's ally Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, called her Spider-Girl on account of her costume, and she started going by the moniker. She vowed to stay true to the principles that drove her hero, the Amazing Spider-Man. As Spider-Girl, Anya battled Onslaught alongside the Secret Avengers. While cracking down on crime, Anya overheard a television broadcast that the Fantastic Four were faced with a widespread tragedy at the city college where her dad was located. She rushed to the building where he would be, but it collapsed. She entered it and found many people injured and her dad dead under fallen rubble. Suddenly an out-of-control General Thaddeus Ross, aka Red Hulk, rampaged towards her while the Fantastic Four tried to hold him back. Angry that he had caused her father's death, Anya attacked the Red Hulk, but the FF told her to clear the area while they contained him. Though their efforts were hopeless, and the Red Hulk chased after Anya. After dodging several attacks, Anya suddenly stood her ground as the Red Hulk mumbled something about Raven and burning blood. She led him to water, and it restored him to his less rampaging self, though she hoped he drowned for killing her father. It turned out that Red Hulk was mind-controlled by a mysterious group called Raven, so Anya reluctantly teamed up with him to investigate. Meanwhile, Anya's neighbor Kurt Godwin started aggressively checking in on her and her roommate Rocky, whose father became Anya's legal guardian after the death of her father. Anya soon learned that Godwin was a top agent of Raven, as was Emmeline Foster, another agent after her. During this time, Anya also ended up going toe-to-toe with Craven the Hunter's daughter, Anna Kravinoff, aka Craven, and a new hobgoblin. Continuing her investigation, Anya and Red Hulk found that Raven had countless warehouses and scientists working for them, plus a group of goons called American Ninjas, who kidnapped Rocky and her father. Anya's powers then returned, and in tracking them down, she eventually got help from Red Hulk and Spider-Man, but not before she found out that Godwin had actually killed her father by poisoning his coffee. She wanted to kill him, but she stopped herself, thinking of her father's ethics. Anya soon found out that a virus infected New Yorkers, including herself, and given them spider powers and mutated many into giant spider creatures. Crime boss Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, was no exception and offered Spider-Girl a spot in his organization to fight the Society of the Wasp, a monstrous race out to kill all of Manhattan. Spider-Girl refused, but the psychic Madame Web prophesied that she would have to team up with her enemy to save the city. The Allmother, the leader of the Wasps, planned to release a poison to kill all spiders in Manhattan, so Spider-Girl reluctantly made a deal with the Kingpin to save everyone. She also proposed a truce with the Allmother to fight the mutated Manhattanites, but not to kill them, which allowed other heroes, including Spider-Man, in Union Square to destroy the Queen controlling the spiders. In the end, Hobgoblin slayed the Allmother, and when Kingpin went to kill him for the act, Spider-Girl put a stop to it, having seen enough death for the day. Mr. Fantastic created inoculations which turned everyone back to normal, even Anya. She met up with Kingpin, who wanted her to join him against their mutual enemies, but she refused, seeing him on the side of the devils. Despite declining, he appreciated her help and, having learned her secret identity, promised to forget who she was under the mask. The Avengers Academy then recruited Anya, and when the Inhumans' Terrigen cloud spread across the globe, Spider-Girl investigated her missing teacher, who was kidnapped while enveloped in a Terrigenesis cocoon. She enlisted the help of the Avengers, including Spider-Woman, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, James Howlett/Logan, aka Wolverine, and Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, who all had ideas about how Spider-Girl could be a better superhero. Spider-Girl and her allies got stuck in a mad science war brewing between Advanced Idea Mechanics, AIM, and Dr. June Kevington, aka the Toxic Doxy. They discovered that AIM was behind the kidnapping and had sold the cocoon of Spider-Girl's teacher, and Toxic Doxy wanted it. Spider-Girl was pivotal in stopping Toxic Doxy from getting the cocoon, and she and the Avengers rescued her teacher. When the vampiric inheritors, a family that fed off the life force of spider totems, traveled across the multiverse hunting spiders, Anya joined Billy Braddock, aka Spider UK of Earth 833, and his team of spiders to defeat them, and soon, the larger spider army. The inheritors were after Cindy Moon, aka Silk, of Anya's Earth, and she alongside Earth 65's Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Woman, later Ghost Spider, were tasked by, to keep her safe. Though Silk, not wanting to put anyone else in danger, snuck off on her own, bouncing from universe to universe. Anya and Gwen rejoined Spider UK's team and fought the Inheritors, while Silk found a universe that would be toxic to the Inheritors, and so that's where the Spider Army made their final stand and, entrapping them, defeated their ferocious foes. However, the Spider Army was not without its casualties, and other worlds needed spider heroes to protect them. Anya volunteered to be part of the Web Warriors and help mend the severed skeins across time and space. Anya was second in command to the Web Warriors leader Spider UK. The team included several spider heroes from across the multiverse, including Mayday Parker, aka Spider-Woman, Earth 982, Peter Porker, aka Spider-Ham, Earth 8311, Peter B. Parker, aka Spider-Man Noir, Pavid Prabhakar, aka Spider-Man, Earth 50101, Ghost Spider, Maybelle May Riley, aka Lady Spider, Earth 803, and the Inheritor enemy-turned-ally Karn, aka Master Weaver, Earth 001. With this team of spider heroes, Anya was tasked with patrolling and protecting the Web of Life and Destiny, the gateway to all of reality located on Earth 001, aka Loomworld. Anya and the team went up against an army of interdimensional Electros, and at one point, though Anya doubted herself, Spider-Woman and Spider-Ham were right there encouraging her. She made a hard call and directed the team to prevent the Electros from destroying the whole web, but they lost Spider-UK and Spider-Woman in the process. Anya and the team set out to bring their missing teammates home, but learned that they had damaged the web in doing so, causing realities to bleed together. So, they set out to repair reality itself. But the team's teleportation devices, which allowed them to travel the web, were also damaged, and after a reality quake separated them all, they had to find their way back to each other on their own. Anya ended up stranded with Lady Spider in the anarchic hellhole of Earth 138, Hobie Brown, aka Spider-Punk's reality, who had also become an ally of their team. Anya, knowing Lady Spider was a brilliant mechanical engineer, encouraged her to recreate their communicator, and they soon allied with another Spider-Man who wore a giant mechanical spider suit. Anya and the others reunited with their teammates, who were under attack by escaped Electros. But the Electros' leader, the Battery, soon infiltrated the robotic spider suit. But the team's recent ally Ben Parker, aka Spider-Man, Earth 3145, merged his mind with a teleconsciousness helmet that helped alter the Battery's intentions and stopped the Electros in their tracks. The team soon received word from Karn that an alternate reality Harry Osborn posing as his world's Spider-Man was attempting to destroy the web. Anya listened to her teammates, who formulated a plan against him. Using the altered Battery, they combined Spider-Punk and Ghost Spider's musical talents and zapped Osborn from afar, saving reality with rock and roll. The Web Warriors resolved to reunite anytime the multiverse called. Anya returned to life of juggling college studies and her responsibility as Spider-Girl when her tattoos suddenly returned and knocked her unconscious while she was swinging through the city. She dreamt of the clairvoyant Madame Web, now Julia Carpenter, who sent an ominous warning. Anya awoke with her costume in tatters and feeling like her powers were half of what they were. She went about her business, and even saved people from an army of vermin, and collapsed again, but not before she caught a glimpse of their leader. Anya awoke to Madame Web in the flesh, who informed her that her powers were in transition, returning to their true totemic self, and that the Sisterhood of the Wasp were back with a new hunter, Delilah, the seeming leader of the vermin. Madame Web contacted Webweaver, who designed a new costume for Anya, and with her powers restored, she returned to using her alias Arana. Madame Web also had a vision of a concert where Delilah would be, and when Anya showed up, the pair fought. Still transitioning, Anya struggled in hand-to-hand combat. But then her powers suddenly returned in full, and she defeated Delilah. Just then, Madame Web appeared and said that this battle was just the beginning and whisked her through a portal. Anya then helped Madame Web recruit Spider Army members, including an unlikely ally to their ranks, the Inheritor Morlun, and fought against the ancient Wasp totem, Shothra. Shothra desired to dominate the web of life and destiny, and did so by subsuming spiders from across the Spider-Verse into her great nest, making them a part of her hive. Her forces possessed the totem dagger that severed one's ties to the great web, erasing them from reality. When the dagger erased Spider-Woman, the team sought a way to bring her back and defeat the great nest. In the process, Anya, Earth 194's Felicia Hardy, aka Night Spider, and Peter were ambushed by Shothra's growing forces, and Peter was stabbed by the dagger. His severance from the web created an alternate timeline where Peter was never bitten by a radioactive spider, and thus never became Spider-Man. This alternate Peter helped them defeat Shothra, and the group received a visit from Neith, the first spider totem, who offered them a talisman. Anya held it along with the totem dagger and guided everyone to think of Jessica Drew. As the two artifacts seemed to glow in concert, Anya rewove Jessica back into existence, along with restoring Peter to his original Spider-Man self. She also restored Kane and Spider-Boy, the latter of whom none of them remembered. When Anya returned to college after defeating Shothra, she encountered a thief at the American Museum of Natural History who stole the totem of Andrina. Anya followed her, and to Anya's surprise, the thief deployed webs at her. They got into a scrap, and the culprit pulled Anya into her universe and revealed herself to be that world's Anya Corazon, aka Spider-Girl, who explained that the totem could help her rescue her parents. Anya assisted her parallel self in liberating Spider-Girl's parents from their captors, the cult-like Church of Andrina, but it was a trap. Their captors knocked both Anya and Spider-Girl out and performed a ritual using the totem of Andrina to open a portal and unleash Krakinos, the Church's master. Spider-Girl and Anya escaped and fought Krakinos, but when Anya touched the totem, the portal began to suck everything into it, so Spider-Girl sent Krakino's back through with one blow and the church's followers followed. Spider-Girl's parents were about to be sucked through as well, but Anya caught them in time. Spider-Girl smashed the totem, closing the portal. Spider-Girl's parents hugged their daughter as well as Anya and welcomed her into their family. Though Anya had to get back to her universe, she felt thankful that her crazy life allowed her to hug her parents who she missed dearly.